Hi all, you are watching a fragment of the countdown program from January 22, 2024. Today is Monday. Watch all of our videos on Patreon. And thanks to everyone who is becoming our patrons right now. I'll talk about the themes of the postscript later, but now about the most important thing. NATO forces begin exercises simulating a future clash with Russia. Stalwart Defender is the name of the exercise, which will involve about 90,000 military personnel of NATO countries and another candidate country for joining the alliance, Sweden. The maneuvers are planned until the end of May and will cover territories from Norway to Romania. More than 50 ships, over 80 fighter jets, helicopters and drones, and at least 1,000 combat vehicles will also take part in the exercises. The exercise will show that NATO can conduct and support complex operations on land, sea, air, cyberspace and space, within months, said Christopher Cavoli, NATO's Supreme Allied Commander Europe. Against the backdrop of Moscow's latest tough statements, Europe and NATO countries have moved from words of concern to real action. Military exercises have supplanted the reflection of diplomats. How is it possible? The Russians were our partners, who during Yeltsin's time behaved like true democrats. And fortune-telling began on the topic, what did we do wrong? In fact, in the Russian zone everything is decided by the head of the administration. If he plays democracy, his surroundings are democratic among themselves. And if the next leader of the zone starts zigging, the officials begin to grow a third arm in order to outdo the others in zigging. They have no ideological views and principles. They are replaced by constantly improving methods of survival in a zone where it is cold, hungry and scary. And none of them wants to fall into disgrace and slide to a deeper level with the rest of the unaccompanied soldiers. Morals are cruel, but that's what they are. Since the prolongation of Putin's power is now guaranteed only by permanent war, the entire zone is preparing for it. The bald king himself plans to rush to the DPRK to spur his ally Kim to be even more generous in the supply of weapons. His scum is experiencing shell hunger. And although the shells from the DPRK are of poor quality, there are simply no others, and you have to be content with what the Wen produces. The latest drone attacks in the Leningrad region showed that the local system was focused on protecting against attacks from the north and northwest, meaning hypothetical attacks from NATO, but was completely unprepared for a Ukrainian UAV attack from the south. And now, in the name of protecting strategic goals, the entire air defense system near St. Petersburg will have to be urgently rebuilt. It seems that the new strategy of Ukrainian attacks on the infrastructure facilities of the Russians could turn into a serious headache for the Kremlin. Moreover, for example, the housing and communal services infrastructure is breaking down on its own due to critical deterioration. It doesn't even need any sabotage. For example, Kazan took the baton of communal collapse today, where several streets were blocked due to a breakthrough in underground communications. Due to the dilapidation of the post-Soviet system and the shabby army, which in its equipment does not in any way resemble a modern one, the sacramental question is increasingly being asked: how is Russia going to fight against the West? Become our patrons right now and look further in this program. Fico wags his tail. In an effort to please the fascist dictator, the Prime Minister of Slovakia makes statements insulting to Ukraine. This means that the Slovak opposition will again go to protests. Ron DeSantis withdrew his candidacy from the presidential election race in favor of Donald Trump and began praising him, not forgetting to criticize Biden and Nikki Haley. The Republican primaries in New Hampshire will take place against the backdrop of new trials in Trump's rape and libel case. In Germany, protests continued against the strengthening of right-wing pro-Nazi forces. About 200,000 people attended a major demonstration against right-wing extremism in Munich on Sunday before the event had to be cancelled. Watch in the program, Postscript. A law on confiscation of property for fakes about the Russian army has been introduced to the State Duma of the Russian Federation. Now the boys will en masse do what they know how to do and love to do: take away and divide. On the day of unification of Ukraine, President Zelensky signed a decree on the territories of Russia historically inhabited by Ukrainians. He actually outlined the territories that could, and most likely, go to Ukraine after Russia's defeat in the war. And that is all. Subscribe to Patreon, and I thank everyone who is doing so right now. Hugs to everyone. See you on Thursday. Glory to Ukraine.